Hey YouTube, it's Kier. I want to talk about the HBO movie Bessie and about Bessie Smith and old time blues in general. So if the blues just is not your thing, you're going to want to skip this video. I heard that the movie was coming out a couple of months ago, and when I heard that Queen Latifah was going to play Bessie Smith, I was really excited about that. I always thought Bessie Smith kind of resembled Loretta Devine, but as far as the way that they're built and the way they carry themselves, Queen Latifah seemed like she would be a really great fit for that. Plus, I love Queen Latifah. And I didn't find out Monique was going to play Ma Rainey until a couple of days before the movie was set to premiere, and I was really excited about that because I love Monique, and she seemed like a really good fit for Ma, who, by the way, if you don't know who Ma Rainey is, she was a badass, ballsy bitch. Like, she was badass. So was Bessie. So were a lot of the women who sang the blues, period. That was just one genre where I don't know if it was because of the style of music and the time period and the oppression many of them were, well, at that time, every one of them was living in and all of that. I don't know. But something about the blues just drew these women who had something to say, and that was their way of using their voice. They said what they needed to say in their songs, whether it was about love or being attracted to women as a woman in a time when that was illegal, like you could literally go to jail for it. And I'm referring there to Ma Rainey's song, which is actually in the movie, but I heard about it a few years ago and was able to listen to it here on YouTube. It's called Prove It On Me, and yeah, that song was like very risque for the time period because she is saying, I'm a lesbian, but, or, well, she was bi because she was married to a man, but I don't know if she was married to a man as kind of a cover and she was 100% a lesbian, or if she was bisexual and she was attracted to both. I'm not sure what that was, but at any rate, she was attracted to women, and the song is saying, I'm a woman, I'm attracted to women, but prove it. And I think she released that in like 1923, somewhere in there. It was in the 20s, I believe it was the early 20s. But this movie, oh my god, man, they did such a good fucking job on this movie. The cast, the information, it was accurate, it was just a great movie. And what I love most about it is there are not a lot of people my age, let alone younger, who know who Bessie Smith is, or Ma Rainey, or, you know, any of the other blues artists of the time, like Robert Johnson, Son House, all of them. People my age don't listen to music like that, and it's not that they wouldn't like it, it's that they've never been exposed to it, really, or at least nobody I knew besides me had been exposed to it. And they don't know what they're missing, man. And now the one thing I wasn't too crazy about was the fact that they do what a lot of biopics now concerning musicians and singers do, where Queen Latifah sang the songs. Not that she didn't do an excellent job, she did do an excellent job. It's just that I feel like because this movie was coming out to people who probably had never heard Bessie Smith, it might have been better to have Bessie, but then again I also understand why they didn't, because this was recorded on the old, you know, records that are scratchy and the sound quality isn't great, and that would have come through in the movie, so I understand that. But other than that, man, this movie was so badass. I love the blues. I do not like jazz, and some things people call jazz, I see as the blues. I've heard people call Bessie jazz. I don't see her as jazz. She's blues to me. But yeah, I love the blues. My grandma, when I was little, played the blues from like the 50s and 60s, blues and R&B. She loved it. And then when I got older, I'm a huge Janis Joplin fan. And I read Buried Alive in the Blues, which is a biography about Janis. And that book was talking about Bessie Smith. And then I would see interviews with Janice talking about Big Mama Thornton. Love Big Mama. And, you know, I got into reading about the Doors because I love the Doors. And with Jim Morrison, it would talk about Robert Johnson because he really, really loved Robert Johnson. And then, you know, in Leadbelly. But it was like reading about the musicians of the 60s who were rock musicians was how I heard these names. And I would then go on YouTube, or at that time we had LimeWire, and I would download the stuff, or I would listen to the stuff, and I really, really got into it. I then would take this music back to my grandmother, the woman who first showed me the blues, and I would show her, you know, the old time, I call it juke joint blues. A lot of people call it country blues, just that Mississippi Delta kind of, or even St. Louis had blues too, kind of sound that they had back then. So, actually thinking back on it, the first time I ever heard a sound like that was in The Color Purple. That was a movie that I absolutely loved as a kid. It killed me every time I fucking watched it. Like, that movie rips your soul out every single time you fucking see it. But I loved it. And one of the things I loved most about it was Suge Avery. And I loved, like, Sister. You know, remember that song, the song she sang for Miss Seeley. I loved that song. I loved that sound. And, you know, that was probably my first exposure to that type of sound. But later on, as a teenager and in my early 20s, I discovered actual musicians of the sound through YouTube and all that. But I really hope that this movie exposes a whole new audience to this type of music. Because when I first got into it, and I realized how amazing it was and how no one listens to it anymore, I was like, you know, it really sucks, because one day it might be forgotten, and it shouldn't be forgotten, because this is the music that birthed rock and roll. This is the music that birthed R&B. You know, this music changed how we know music today. If it hadn't been for the blues, there wouldn't be rock and roll. You know, rock and roll itself was an old blues term that referred to having sex. It was. But yeah, so I really hope that this amazing movie that HBO did a great job on, and Queen Latifah did amazing, and Monique did amazing, and Mike Epps was in it as the bootlegger. Like, come on, who doesn't love Mike Epps, you know? I just really, really hope that this exposes a whole new audience to the sound, and that people really dig it, because it was amazing stuff. I mean, there, in my opinion, is no... the blues is, in my opinion, the music of the soul. When you have been kicked down to the fucking ground and you don't feel like you can get back up again, you got the blues, baby. You know? That's when it picks you up, you know, and it lets you feel all that shit through the music. And, you know, if you are like I was as a teenager and in my early 20s, and you like to drink away all of your feelings, the blues is a great companion for that. Yeah, it is. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, I got drunk to Janice a lot, but I also got drunk to Bessie and Big Mama and Ma, and Good Man Is Hard to Find. That was a good song to get wasted to in my late teens, early 20s. I mean, it's just, to me, like I said, it's the music of your soul. When you're down as low as you can go, that is the music I want to hear to bring me back up again. So I hope that y'all see this movie if you haven't already, and if you have any desire to, like, maybe tune into this kind of thing, watch this movie. It was excellent. And if you're younger and you're kind of like, I don't know, give it a shot. Because I'm telling you, you just will never hear music like this. This music is something else. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk about how amazing the blues and Bessie Smith and now HBO all are. Hope y'all have a beautiful week, and I hope y'all remember to smile.